Welcome to Isaac's Knives and Knowledge, where today we are comparing two classic folding hunting knives. The Buck Model 110 right here, and the Schrade Old Timer Model 60T, the Golden Bear on the top right there. So let's talk about how they're similar. Then we'll go into all the differences. Similar, both lock back designs. You can see right here's the button to depress for the lock bar. They both have that. And a clip point style blade. These are both stainless steel. Old Timer was known for using high carbon 1095 steel in their knives. But from my research, I've only seen this right here where it says Schrade Plus, which means this is a stainless steel. And looking at all these for sale on eBay, they all have that Schrade Plus mark. We got the Old Timer logo right here with the saw cut Delrin handles. This Buck 110 is a little older. It has their Dyma wood. It's like a resin impregnated wood. Currently they are using ebony wood in these knives, and Old Timer is using some sort of synthetic material. Don't believe it's Delrin anymore, but that's what you get. This is 420 HC steel. That's the standard offering from Buck Knives. And this stainless steel is, from what I could find, is 440A, which was pretty common at the time of production of these knives. Not a whole lot of manufacturers using 440A anymore. And there's been, improvements in steel over the last quarter of a century since this knife was probably made, and maybe even older, who knows. Now, the biggest difference you'll notice is the Buck has this rear bolster. The Old Timer does not, making this a much lighter knife. It really is. You can feel the difference when you pick this knife up. Now, Old Timer does make a different folding hunter that does have this brass backing. They call that one the Cave Bear. I can't remember the model number off the top of my head, but they still produce both models. And so if you like the heavier weight, then you'll either choose the Old Timer Cave Bear or the Buck 110. Now let me turn these knives this way so we can look at the blades. So you can see the Old Timer is a hair longer. They listed at 3.9 inches, and the Buck is 3.75. So you get a little extra blade length if that's what you like with the Old Timer. You will also notice that the Old Timer has a wider blade as well, which I like. Now, Buck 110, they kind of invented this style of knife. Buck did with this model, and had many imitators still around today. Many imitators of the Buck 110, and this Old Timer is an imitation of it. Case did one. K-Bar did one. Everybody, literally everybody, has a folding hunter based on the Buck 110. Now, this is probably, I would imagine, this is likely one of the originators of the lanyard hole for folding knives. So if you like a lanyard, this Old Timer is what you're going to want. No lanyard hole in the Buck Model 110. And I do like the wider blade. Yeah, I really like the wider blade of this Old Timer. So 440A, 420HC, probably going to have similar edge retention. I bet you'll get a bit more toughness out of the 420HC. But, for folding, hunting tasks, I think you'll find probably similar performance on these two knives. The Buck, I have a lot more experience in actually using. I haven't owned this one too long, actually. I feel like I do like the ergonomics on the Buck a little bit better. It feels better in my hand than the old timer. It must have a bit more curve there. Let's see if we can pick that up here and take a look. You know, maybe, you know, this curve fits my hand just a little bit better than the old timer. Less rivets in the old timer. That doesn't matter to me. But the weight on this, much better. Love the wider blade on the old timer. And it's cooled heavily in your tube and cut that weight, so all the weight is in the front of this knife, so you can bear down for all of your... Whoop, I about lost you there. So you can bear down on all of your cutting tasks. All right, so that about does it for this comparison of the Buck 110 and the old timer 60T Golden Bear. Take it easy. We'll see you on the next video.